Because Christ asks us not just to say it, but to act on it, and to demand that the culture reflect that. Because who's going to reflect truth and justice to, say, the magistrates, to the culture?
Correct.
Who's going to do that? And so we may say it amongst ourselves. The pro-life movement, when it comes to the regulations that they put in place and what they represent in the realm of government, they have not put forth that it's murder. They do not treat it as murder. They don't call it murder. They would always write in an exception for the mother, like, what other murder law, like where in Genesis 9:6 when Noah got off the ark did God say, if any man shed man's blood, except a mother, by man shall his blood be shed, right?
I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, and so even though we might say it a little bit amongst ourselves, we don't teach on it. It's not generally preached about, and yet 1 in 5 women are evangelical Christians that will go down there and dismember their baby.
I know that. We as Christians need to go out and be the salt of the world. And that's what I believed before I even started going to Moody.
Like when we talk to people on the street, because we'll go to high schools, we go to churches, we go all over the place. We'll stand in front of Starbucks, we go to the abortion clinic, right? When we talk to people, what they reflect to us is that abortion is really wrong maybe after 20 weeks. Maybe it's wrong if there's a heartbeat. Culture reflects back to us what they've learned. And what they've learned that the Christian has to say is the pro-life mantra. And so what we've decided is that we are following in the footsteps of abolitionists of old who sought to abolish slavery, who sought to abolish infanticide in the 1st century. And, it could be a matter of semantics and rhetoric, but we think that words really matter. And like during the time of slavery, we wouldn't have said that we're pro-black. During the time of the Jewish Holocaust, we wouldn't have said we're pro-Jewish. We would say what God says. God says, "Thou shalt not murder." We are seeking to abolish the evil of our age, and
not regulate it, but end it.
Yeah, and we don't think that the church, if there's any salt scattered throughout this land for the preborn, because really the victims would be the one to decide, have we been salty enough, have we been light enough, right? And I'm going to guess that they would say no to, like as we're sitting here talking, literally like 2 every minute. Like get this, we're from Idaho actually. We live in northern Idaho, and we have a petition in our state because you can put citizens ballots initiatives. You can actually create law through a citizens ballot initiative. So we have a ballot initiative we've created whereby we would take away, abortion is actually categorized as murder in Idaho, but we have a prohibition on the prosecution for abortion. And so our ballot initiative would take that away, and it would basically establish equal justice for the preborn. And we have called hundreds and hundreds of churches. They will have nothing to do with it.
They won't sign the petition. They won't circulate it. They won't sign it.
Well, we've had so many conversations with pastors, and really the language is so simple in the bill, and we have to have all of the language with us when we go around, and we do. And their problem is in calling it murder. That's what they say, and it's because
the fact that women are going to be called murderers if they kill their children.
See, all the women, like the 1 in 4 women, the statistics happen in here and in the churches too. And unfortunately, pastors don't want to alienate their congregation.
And that falls in the lines of the pastors. When a pastor is not doing what he should be doing, that once again falls in the line of we just need to pray harder, and we do need to do things. And it's funny that you guys are out here, and before I'm taking a class right now of spiritual life and community.
If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn into death, and those that are ready to be slain, if thou sayest, behold, we knew it not, doth not him that considereth the heart ponder it? Doth he not know it, and shall he not render to every man according to his works? It's not just according to his belief system, right? It's according to his works.
I agree with that.
Yeah. If you could just picture that, like we would drive all the way from, Clark Fork, Idaho, to come and be a witness for those being led to destruction down at Planned Parenthood. And here's this huge institute, this beautiful facility where people are trained to be Christians, and we never see one down there. You understand, right?
It gets kind of
That's only one symptom, because we do not think that you can end abortion at the abortion clinic. Right? Because it's actually happening at Walgreens, it's actually happening in IVF clinics, it's actually happening at Costco. Like Plan B is killing children. IVF clinics, we've got children stacked in freezers throughout this nation. There's so much that we need to be educating on, and Christians are partaking in it, honestly, in so much of it that they aren't even aware of.
It's the fact that everybody gets numb to it. And so
you can go to abolishhumanabortion.com.
Is that on this paper?
How are you, sir?
Great, thank you. My name is Scott.
Arlene.
Arlene, nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Hi.
This is Rochelle.
Rochelle,
nice to meet you. Are you guys students here?
No.
No, I serve as the executive pastor here at Fourth Memorial Church.
Awesome.
Rochelle works.
Have I met you already?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were here the other night for the beautiful eulogy concert.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
I heard. And standing for, I mean, as far as
what do you think we are standing for?
You're pro-life.
No, I know that's surprising, but we actually wouldn't consider ourselves pro-life.
What would you consider yourself as?
We would call ourselves abolitionists. I know that that's a different term, and I wouldn't expect people to have heard of it before. We're actually here with a message to Christians. So that's a little bit different than just saying I'm against abortion.
Okay, and what would you say is your message then to Christians?
Are we being salt? Are we being light? Are we being obedient to God? Are our works commensurate with our declaration of faith? Are we living lives of repentance as the first, of the 95 Theses would be urged by Martin Luther? Are we obeying Proverbs 24, where it says, if thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death and those that are ready to be slain? Have we been salt and light? Have we even declared to this nation that abortion is murder?
It's great. All I would ask is probably, even as a church, we have people who come in and say, this is our cause. Would you allow us to come share with your congregation, whether it be, we have different groups of our seniors ministry, college ministry, and all those other kinds of ministry. Would you allow us to come and share with you?
Sure.
So I love that. I love being, because we want to share with our congregation different things that avenues of getting involved and things like that. So I have no issue, and I love that. All I would ask is that I would like it to receive it that way of, could you have called and said, hey, would you be willing to allow us to, and I may ask though that if you could not do this of putting these on cars, and
did you call? I thought you had told me that you did call
Moody Bible Institute. I actually didn't even realize this was a church until today.
Right.
And I asked if we could talk to someone, and they referred me to somebody and their voicemail, and I didn't get a call back. So we just figured, we'll just stand out here and see if we can get people to come out.
So here's a question for you, because I
Yes.
understand people don't generally like. I guess, in America it might be called pamphleteering, right? If it were a $10 coupon, would it bother you? If it were just like a coupon for something that's $10 for books,
Sure.
would it bother you?
Yeah, we've called a number of organizations and said, would you please not put this on cars when they sit here? And so, there's a number of organizations that we have called to say, please don't do this.
Sure.
So it's the fact that it's similar to soliciting, or what's the issue?
Because you realize it's just like a Christian message, right? And this is a Christian institute. And so I'm wondering why you would be offended with a little card with a Christian message on it in the middle of a Holocaust. What do you think? Here's a good question for you to reflect on, because this is what we're here for. What does it look like to be a Christian in a culture that practices child sacrifice? And I know that you say that you care about youth groups and elderly and different ministries, but we have an institutionalized Holocaust going on. Literally 2 image bearers of God being led away to destruction every minute of every day in America.
Well, here's what I would like for you to hear, though, is we as a church have a missions budget, and within our budget as a church, we support a ministry in town that helps ladies in crisis pregnancies.
Which one is that? Do you happen to know? Or it's just one of the CPCs?
Yeah, and they often park a bus down here across from Planned Parenthood.
Yes. You ought not do that. I'm going to say a shocking thing to you, but they do not say what God says.
Okay, but there's another ministry in town that just got started up. Let me hold on the name. Give me a minute. Life Services, iChoice, but there's another one that just started up 2 years ago that is more biblically
More
centered.
biblically. We do need good biblical ones, and aid is a good thing to offer, but I'm going to tell you, or I'm going to ask you or provoke you to this thought that God actually wants us to demand justice. If we had like if we had institutionalized rape going on, would we fund a bus to help deliver condoms to rapists? See, those women going in there are murderers. Or would we say, we have 3,500 students at institutes being raped every day by men. We need to rise up and do something about it. We need to demand justice. We need to say the law of God against it.
Our methodologies may differ as far as how we offer help. You know, what you're doing is great, and it is one method. And so I would say there's room in the Christian faith for different methodologies to go about accomplishing the same task. And so that's all I would say. And if I could just say, please, we, as a landlord, have a tenant. And both the landlord and the tenant, we would just ask, please, would you please not do this? But what you do out here, I can't stop and say, great, thank you for what you're doing, but if you could please not do that, that would be appreciated.
Like, the church probably didn't really want Martin Luther to nail that to the door, did he?
I'm not going to go there.
I mean, we're supposed to obey God, not man, right? And we are supposed to provoke one another to love and good works. That's what it says in Hebrews 10:24.
Yep, and again, our methods can be varied. I appreciate you and appreciate your time. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, thank you.
So next time, instead of coming out here, can we give you a call? Like, could we give you a call and maybe like, I would love to talk to other Christians and be like, hey, this is what we do. And
yeah, I'd love to, but I also want you to know that there are ministries that we do support that we have invited in who communicate the same thing. Similar message. And so so anyway, thank you very much for your time.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no! I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it
just right in there. More? You got more?
I got one more roll,
yeah, let's do that. That looks like the sort of thing I don't want to touch the edges of too incautiously, right?
Very sharp.
He didn't say anything. He nearly did. I'm disappointed. How do you know he nearly did?
He's disappointed. You know, we should have had this one in front of NBI. From now on, man, that's it.
I thought about bringing it
all the way.